All right, today I'm going to show a demo of connecting an AppSheet app to my AI in Thunk. And so this demo is going to use a field delivery scenario. So I've got an AppSheet app here that I got from the sample apps that is about delivering goods across the country. And so the idea is that there's a driver of this app who is like adding rows of data that describe the jobs that they're going to be working on. And so every time the driver adds one of those rows, it's going to make a webhook call to my Thunk, and that's going to kick off my AI to do some work. So it's going to do things like get the weather for the destination of where the driver's going. The driver's going to snap a little picture of the goods that they're hauling, and the AI is going to validate that image to make sure it's okay. And then finally, the AI is going to update the job in the AppSheet app with the results of that validation. And it's going to do that using the AppSheet API. So let me show this end to end. So let me first go over the AppSheet app, and I'm going to add a row here, and I'll say I'm driver number 2, and today I'm going to be delivering lamps. And let me get a picture here of the lamps that I'm delivering. So this is definitely not a picture of a lamp, so this will test the image validation aspect of this. And we're going to say we're going to pick this up from, let's say, Cleveland, Ohio, and we are going to drop it off in Austin, Texas. And I'll give my signature. And okay, so notice that the status here is pending and that we've got an empty forecast. So these are things that my AI and Thunk is going to update based on the information that I filled out here. So I'm going to hit save. And so this is going to sync the data with the spreadsheet behind this app, and it's also going to call that webhook that will invoke my AI to start working. So I'm going to hit the sync button to make that happen faster. And now I'll switch over to Thunk. And so you can see here I'm in this incoming and outgoing connections page, and I've got this list of messages here. So these are all the incoming messages that this Thunk receives, including webhooks. And so the first thing the AI is going to do is process that incoming webhook and reformat it so I don't have to look at this kind of ugly raw JSON and give me like a nice looking representation of it. And the next thing it's going to do is decide how to handle that new message that came in. And what it's going to do is make a task to work on the 3 items that I mentioned before about validating the image and getting the weather and whatnot. So you can see it created a new job entry for delivering lamps. So I'm going to click through to watch that. So this is kind of the workspace where the agent is doing its work. You can see that it's got some basic information extracted from the data that came in. And over here on the right is the kind of chat pane, similar to ChatGPT, where my agent is carrying out those tasks that I instructed it to do. So we'll just give it a second to work. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now it's done. So you can see it came back with the summary of what it did. So it got the weather forecast for Austin, Texas, which is the destination. And it used today's date. And it got thunder showers, high of 94. It updated the job forecast in the AppSheet app. It verified that the image and found that it didn't match the job description, so that therefore it canceled the job. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I also had it draft an email to the driver requesting a better picture. So now that it's done all that work, let's go over to the AppSheet app. I'm going to go back to my row and press the sync button to pull in the latest data. So you can see that the status is canceled and the forecast has been updated there. So that's the work that my AI did in Thunk and updated it using the AppSheet API. So let me just actually show a little bit more detail about how the agent carried out this work. So I can click on this thing to expand what it did and go to the top. And so basically the AI works using tools, and these tools allow it to access information in the outside world. So one of them that's just built into the system is web search. So you can see it did a web search for Austin, Texas weather forecast for today's date, and it got some search results back. The next thing it did is it used a special custom tool called Update Rows Job that is basically invoking the AppSheet app API. And so it's using the key that it pulled in from the data in the webhook and updating that forecast column to that new value. The next thing it did, so finished running that. So the next thing it did is use another built-in tool that it has called Ask About Image. This is something that every Thunk has in it, and in this case it gave it the image URL from that AppSheet row that I added and asked, does this image show lamps? So that tool runs and it comes back, and this is using GPT vision, and it says no, it does not show lamps, it's a picture of an ear of corn. Okay, so now it calls the update rows thing again with that same key and sets the status to canceled. Then finally, it's using another AppSheet powered tool that it has called Find Driver by ID, because in my AppSheet app, I've got a table of jobs and a table of drivers, and there's kind of a reference between them. So it needs to look up the driver information for that key. So it gets that information and it figures out that, okay, this is driver number 2, and their email address is probably in there somewhere too. And then it uses finally one last tool called Draft Email, and that's what it does to create this email link for me to click, which should show up here. There we go. So this it kind of drafts an email for me to driver2@company.com, which is the example data from the AppSheet app, and says, okay, the image you provided, it does not match the description. It's a picture of an ear of corn. So that is kind of like the end-to-end flow that shows that you can get intelligent information, action carried out by your AI and Thunk by receiving an incoming webhook. And then it uses these special tools that can connect to an AppSheet app to update data and fetch data to like look up the driver information, for example. So I'll end this video and I'll go into the details of how I built this in a second one. Thanks.